Wide Web. I'm GW Pomichter, and we are hanging with artists and game designers and writers and creators of all kinds at the 34th Annual Necronomicon in Tampa, Florida. Before we get going, I want to send a special shout out to our friends over at Something Unique Magazine for helping us share these creators with you this weekend. We're here at the 34th Annual Necronomicon 2015, the Grand Hyatt Regency in Tampa, Florida, and we are hanging with K.L. Napper, Kathy Napper, the author of the Full Wolf Moon trilogy. Outstanding.
It's a
Full Wolf Moon trilogy. We have here her latest in the trilogy, which is Chosen. And so, Kathy, thanks for hanging with us.
Oh,
this is awesome. Thank you very much. And you're the first one this weekend, so welcome to the show.
I love being number one.
All right. Number one. We all want to be number one, right?
Exactly.
So we're going to start out with, are you having a good time at the con?
I always have a good time. Particularly, this is one of my favorites. It's small, it's intimate, it's extremely fan-friendly, so it's always one of my favorites.
I've walked around, we've done probably 3 different cons here in Florida now, and each one is a little bit different. This is probably the most fan, reader, watcher, this is about them. And This is really amazing to see because it puts us in the seat where we can actually talk to them.
Exactly.
So that's pretty great. And so now the Full Wolf Moon trilogy. Okay. First of all, tell us a little bit about the series. And where and what inspired you to write this trilogy?
Oh boy, that's always a tough one to say. It really is. Well, first of all, it's a supernatural thriller, and it's got a little bit of. It's got a little bit of history in it. It has a little bit of, maybe a lot of terror.
Okay.
So it borders on horror, but I would call it more lines of a supernatural thriller.
Okay.
It begins right after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and the main scene comes from a Japanese internment camp, and the creature in it, the werewolf, begins to stalk the inhabitants of the camp, and it runs from there.
Wow.
I
so
hope
you've got a little. Okay, so you've got a supernatural thriller.
Mm-hmm.
It's a period piece.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of research.
It was.
That is a lot of work.
It was. It really was.
I have a 200-page noir period piece that was enough research.
Yeah.
It was, and that's more of a pop culture genre. So to dig this deep into the paranormal, into World War II, this is a lot of research. So, you have any upcoming projects that you're working on, or you have Chosen that's out now? This is out now?
This is out now.
Okay.
Exactly. So this is the culmination of the trilogy.
Okay.
Which is appropriate since it's book 3. But right now, actually, I'm going a little further afield than what I usually do.
Okay.
I'm dipping into young adult, and I'm going to do a science fiction steampunk mashup.
Wow.
So I'm probably about somewhere between a quarter and halfway through. I'm very excited about that. I'm really looking forward to
it just sounds amazing. I'm
very excited about
I love the visual dynamic of the steampunk universe. And I've wanted to kind of play writing in it. The difficulty is it's such a descriptive.
It is.
So much more visual than anything else that you could possibly write. So it's a challenge. I hope you're having a great time with it.
I am. I guess you could say I'm a closet steampunker. I really don't have time to get into the incredible costuming and the role playing, which I
saw some of these guys walking around here. It's amazing.
Oh,
it is phenomenal. There were some folks in there. They make different pieces for you.
They do.
The hats and the vests and the women's outfits are extraordinary.
It's just remarkable. Homemade and properly handmade and I guess hand tooled costuming is extremely important to them, and I just think it's marvelous. But I can either write or I can do that. And since I can't do that, I figure I'll do a steampunk novel.
So there you, amen. That's fantastic. So you've told us about your steampunk novel, and so there's so many other creators here, and I mean everybody from Timothy Zahn is over here as our guest of honor. We have cosplayers, other writers. We've got people who are creating all manner of. In that room is I can't describe what they're creating because there's too much. You have to come to Tampa to find out. Is there anybody who really inspires you? Do you have an inspiration, another author or a creator that really inspired you to create?
Oh, well, way back. That goes, of course, back to my childhood, and I was reading a lot of Edgar Allan Poe, and Rod Serling was a big influence, and that still pulls in there.
Yeah.
I get a lot of inspiration from classic mythology as well.
Okay.
The mythologist Joseph Campbell. When I stumbled onto his studies, that just opened my eyes. And so I really like to play with a lot of the type of mythologies that have always had meaning. Sometimes I think that we can get a little too far afield from them, so it's tricky to be able to take those.
Get lost in the new myth and lose the old, the truth.
Exactly so,
yes.
precisely.
Yeah.
I think Campbell pointed out, it's like trying to put old wine in new skin. It's a tricky type of situation, but I'm having fun trying, and I hope that I hit more than I miss.
Well, we just had some fun with the show. We wanted to know, you had mentioned before you love coming to the cons and meeting with the readers and that. Now, we've talked to a lot of artists, especially at the con circuit, who have done a lot of them. And so the question that we have of the day is, what's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you at a con?
Wow. That may take several minutes. I don't know if you want to use up airtime trying to figure out what's the weirdest it is.
Yeah.
I think maybe that probably goes more towards the costuming, some of the more fantastic costuming. And wow, I don't even begin to know. I mean, I've seen everything from just remarkable Hellboys.
Yep.
I don't know if you know, of course, that, to this one Batman costume. They had a wingspan. The thing was like 8 feet long.
Wow.
They really go into fine detail here.
Wow.
So yeah, I would put that under the category of most weird and wonderful.
Outstanding. That's fantastic. So, what is? Do you have a favorite sci-fi other than yourself? Favorite author? Favorite writer?
There's so many, and there's so many great ones that are right here. It would really be hard to put, but so as not to necessarily single out somebody specifically here because they're all so great here. Right now I have a great deal of interest in China Mayville, which he's a British author.
Okay.
And once again, that starts to take us back to the steampunk, I have to say, because he does a lot of fantasy steampunk kind of stuff. He's a marvelous author.
Wow.
And as far as, as far as thrillers and supernatural horror, you can't go wrong with like Dean Koontz.
Absolutely.
Naturally, Stephen King.
Yeah.
There's just so many.
Yeah, it is. It's a wide field.
I would take much too much airtime.
Just to list them all. Well, I'm really glad that you could come and hang with us, Kathy. And so before we go, though, I want to make sure everybody knows. Now, where can we find Chosen and the rest of the trilogy?
You can find Chosen. You can find everything just about anywhere. Anywhere that you've got a reputable bookseller, of course, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, the whole bit. The Barnes & Noble bookstores will certainly order these for you. If you go in and ask, they're happy to order them for you.
Awesome.
Everything I have is in both ebook and in paperback. So
awesome.
Pretty much everywhere.
So if you're watching the podcast here, you can go to iBooks probably and pick up Chosen or any one of the trilogy.
Absolutely.
And you can look for the steampunk mashup coming up.
That will be coming. The working title is Thunderwell, and I think I'm going to keep that. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. Well, Kathy, thanks for hanging with us here at Necronomicon. I said it right.
You did.
I did. I'm doing all right. Necronomicon 2015. We hope you meet lots and lots of readers and have lots and lots of fun. We're certainly having a great time. So before we go, we want to send one more shout out to Some Unique Magazine for helping us share this video online everywhere. And I want to thank Necronomicon 2015 for inviting us to their 34th annual event. I'm G.W. Pomichter, and we'll be back in just a bit, so log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next.
The Submit to Darkness series by indie author A.J. Spencer is now complete. This dark and twisted erotic thriller spans 3 books and follows FBI profiler Natasha Stolt as she hunts the serial killer known as Grimm. Will you become as obsessed with her prey as she does?
In the summer of 1953, private investigator Will Lucky Marks was working as the in-house private eye for Arcane Pacific Pictures. Trapped inside the studio with the killer, Lucky must find the killer before time runs out. Lot 28. Own it today. Available iTunes and Amazon.com.
Hello, World Wide Web. I'm GW Pomichter, and we are hanging with artists and game designers and writers and creators of all kinds at the 34th Annual Necronomicon in Tampa, Florida. Before we jump in, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, Some Unique Magazine, for helping us share this and all of these creators with you all this weekend and throughout next week. Right now at Necronomicon 2015 at the Grand Hyatt Regency in Tampa, and we are hanging with Elle Iyer, the author of Vicious Circle, coming out in November. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So I got all my notes good. So there we go. I'm done with that. Okay. So Elle, thanks for hanging with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's great, and we got to meet over at SFSC
Right,
a couple weeks ago, and so you're just kind of making the rounds, huh?
Yeah, we want to get all the word out there and sit on as many panels as we possibly can.
That's fantastic. You've been on a few panels here. I know you just came from one. What panel were you on?
I wasn't actually. My husband was on a Crossing Genres panel.
Oh, okay.
And I'm on a similar panel tomorrow on Crossing Genres.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So how are you enjoying the con so far?
It's fantastic. It's really well organized. Everything's where it's supposed to be.
It is. It is. It's amazing. And what I've noticed about this is that the last couple of cons I've been to have been really focused heavily on us, on the creators. And this is a lot about the fans and the readers and the watchers, and it's great. So we get to interact a little bit more than normal. So
It's a great way for us to make that connection too.
it is. It makes a more personal connection. It's one thing to go to a bookstore. There are thousands of names on the shelves. It's quite another to actually meet someone and go, oh, I know your work. So that's pretty cool. So tell us a little bit about Vicious Circle.
Well, Vicious Circle is coming out as an ebook only for now.
Okay.
It's coming from Torquay Press in about 3 weeks.
Great.
And it is science fiction LGBT romance.
Wow, that's crossing genres.
It is crossing genres.
It's crossing genres. That's great. So, what was your inspiration for wanting to mix those genres up and do something with it?
I grew up as a big Xena Warrior Princess fan.
Okay.
But I also love science fiction, so
Awesome.
I wanted to put the two together. So we've actually sold it as Xena Warrior Princess in Space,
Nice.
and like serial numbers
I
off
think
a
I
little
saw
bit.
her cosplaying
It
somewhere.
wouldn't surprise me at all. And I met her actually. She's really nice.
Oh, very nice.
But that was the inspiration behind it, and then I wrote it, and somebody loved it. So
Awesome. That is fantastic. And you're set to go out in November.
Yes.
Okay. Is this your first time?
it is my first published novel. Yes.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations. And congratulations to the readers, because that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. It really does. We can't wait for that. So what is your favorite part of the con so far?
I really like sitting on the panels and being able to talk about what I love.
Uh-huh.
I've always been an audience member, and it's great to listen to everybody else talk about their enthusiasms, and now I get to share mine.
That's fantastic. And now we've seen it at SFSE and now here, and we're surrounded by so many great artists. We've got authors all the way around this room. In there, the amazing things they're doing with everything from clothes to chocolate in there.
It's just what I need is more chocolate.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, because we'll stay out of there for now. But yeah, I mean, it's so many great creators. Is there anybody here or anybody out there that really inspires you to do what you do?
I have a lot of inspirations. I love, nobody here actually this time, and I'm inspired by everybody here.
Yeah, of
but
course.
specifically, who do I read? I love John Pitts, and I love Jacqueline Carey, who was at the last conference.
Yes.
And I really like Tanya Huff. She's probably one of my favorite authors. Linnea Sinclair is my mentor. She writes science fiction romance as well.
Oh, fantastic. That's really great. And so with your book coming out in November, and you're still doing cons, so you've been to a lot of cons?
I have, as a guest, just the two.
Uh-huh.
But I've been to Rainbow Con, I've been to a World Con science fiction, I've been to Reader Con up in Boston. We try to go and learn as much as we possibly can.
That's what it's all about. In addition to getting to work, to see the readers and the fans, you get to meet so many great artists and learn from them and their mistakes and what they've done differently.
And it's motivational. You go home and you want to start writing something
You
new
do.
every time.
You do. I've got like 3 projects started since SFSE. Just kind of, I got to do something with that knowledge that they've just given me. So, so you've come to a lot of cons, and we're asking our artists who have done the con circuit for a while, what is the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you at a con, or that you've ever seen at a con? Because let's face it, to the outside world, it doesn't come to the cons, not the sci-fi fantasy readers and writers. These places can get a little bit scary in a great way.
I wouldn't say weird. I would say cool.
Cool. Okay.
The coolest
Yeah,
thing
the
that happened
coolest
was
thing
we were at Worldcon. This
Okay.
was many years ago. It was in Denver that year.
Okay.
And my husband happens to be a friend of George R.R. Martin's personal assistant.
Okay.
And they played an online role-playing game together. So we got invited to George R.R. Martin's private party.
Wow.
And it turned out that George R.R. Martin had been playing the same role-playing game in person with his assistant as my husband had been playing online.
Oh,
so
wow.
there's 1,000 fans in this room, and George R.R. Martin hears that my husband is there and breaks through this entire crowd just to say hello to my husband because they've been playing in the same role-playing universe, and they're having this conversation. Everybody's just staring at us. So it was a really, really neat
Well, you know,
experience.
that's the great thing. The artists in this community are also fans.
Yes.
And so they play the games, they read the books, they read each other's work, they go to the movies, they see each other's work there. I mean, it's just the artists are the fans, and so you don't know who you're going to bump into in any room.
And it's so cool when you find out that an author that you love is also a really, really nice person.
Yeah.
'Cause that makes a huge difference.
That is, it does, it really does, and I think it shows in the work sometimes, but more than that, it shows that a person can maintain their humility when they're very successful. And that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing for any of us to do, but particularly at that level. And at George Martin's level, it's just like, you know.
And he's such a nice guy.
You know,
So nice.
that's amazing. That's fantastic. That's a great story. You carry that one around with you for a while. You got to write about that one of these
I
days.
should, one of these days.
Yeah. So anyway, just kind of going over, we have, I want to make sure I get the names, everything right. We have Vicious Circle coming out in November
Right.
by L.E. Iyer.
Yes.
And now everybody that doesn't know it, L is spelled E-L-L-E. And it's L.E. Iyer. And you're going to find Vicious Circles out in November. And you said your husband was doing a panel earlier, and your husband's a writer.
My husband's also a writer. He writes
Okay.
he has multiple short fiction pieces published in Strange Horizons and Fantastic Stories, and he has one that came out just this week in Fireside.
Wow, great. Now, for readers and fans and people who want to know where to find you.
I'm on Facebook. I have my own website as well,
Okay, great. And that is
lier.com.
lier.com. Okay, pretty easy. That's good. lier.com. You can find information about Elle and her coming project. And so thanks for hanging with us, Elle.
Thank you
I mean,
for having
it's a
me.
lot of fun to be here and to run into people we've run into before, which is also a lot of fun.
Familiar faces would make it so much fun, more comfortable.
It really does, because I am the least extroverted person I know.
I would never believe that.
It's true. It really is. They bring them to me because I'm like, okay, I'll sit here and do this. So it is a lot of fun to run into people that you've already met and that you already know. And thanks for hanging with us here. Real quick before we take off, we are hanging with L.E. Iyer, and we are hanging at Necronomicon 2015, the 34th annual Necronomicon in Tampa, Florida. And we want to give a quick shout out to Some Unique Magazine, who's sponsoring some of these shows and helping us to spread the word online. It's great. They've embedded the show in their magazine page.
Oh, awesome.
Isn't that awesome? So we get their readers to be our watchers. So that's really great. I'm GW Pomichter, and we'll be back in just a bit. And so tune in, log on, and see who we're hanging with next here on Hanging With GW Pomichter.